This is my review of the Ice Plunge by Morozko. It's so cold. This is my review of the Ice Plunge by Morozko Forge. So here it is. The first thing to point out is that I am pretty tall. I'm about 6'1", so we can see here that the unit comes, just up to my chest. So you're definitely gonna need steps if you wanna get into this. I didn't have the stairs for the beginning of the video, but we have them now. So this is the stairs that you're gonna get with the unit. When it ships, the stairs are actually gonna come inside the unit. I can't put them in now because there's some beautiful ice in there as I'm about to plunge. But anyway, these are the stairs. One thing that I also love about this unit is the wood. And I should also mention, if you haven't noticed, that I am actually currently in the Morozko headquarters in Phoenix, Arizona. And one thing that I've actually learned about Morozko is that each unit is actually individually crafted and perfected. So each one is actually technically built a little bit differently. The wood is a little bit different in each unit, but trust me, with my own eyes, I can tell you that this wood is absolutely beautiful. And I wish that I could send smell through the video camera because it smells so good in this warehouse from all the fresh cut wood that they are using for their products. So this particular wood on the sides, we have cedar wood, and then the main wood that they chose for this part is actually a birch. And if you notice, if you look closely, none of the wood actually has any knots in it, which the knots are actually a lesser quality of wood and they don't last as long. So Morozko actually goes through all of their wood and they make sure that none of it has any knots, which, like I said, makes it beautiful, makes it last longer, and obviously it is higher quality. There is also a sealer that they put on the wood which helps to protect it against the sun and also water damage, because as everyone knows, when you are combining water with wood, normally wood will warp. However, they put this sealant on the wood which will prevent it from warping and, like I said, help it to protect it against sun damage. So you could put these things right outside, right in your backyard, in front of the sun all day long, and this thing is gonna last for a very long time. Every single detail about these Morozko units is well thought out from literally every single thing. The wood is just one piece of how meticulously crafted these units are, which like I said, I'm in the studio right now and I just keep getting impressed over and over the more I just look and delve into these units, and I'll ask a question, what kind of wood is this? And then I just get this whole thesis on why they chose this type of wood versus this type of wood and why they seal it a certain way. So like I said, these things are just crafted down to a complete science. Now obviously we also have this beautiful cover, which this is a typical hot tub type of cover that you'd see on a hot tubs everywhere. It's very thick, it's obviously insulated, and it's light, so pretty easy to pop on and off, nothing crazy. And now, dun dun dun, when we actually open this thing up, we can see some absolutely beautiful chunks of ice. Voila. Fun fact, it's about 80 degrees outside. And just last night I flew in to do this review, and I basically gave them short notice that I was coming in, and I said I want to review the Ice Plunge. So they set this thing up for me just last night, and it only took about 16 hours to actually start getting the ice in here. So that's just a testament to how good this thing cools and how quickly it cooled down. Like I said, 16 hours from water that was 70 degrees to get all the way down to 32 degrees and actually make ice. So I was super impressed with how quickly this thing was able to make ice. If you were to look around this place, you would see that a lot of the older Morozko units actually use galvanized metal tubs, which, don't get me wrong, the galvanized are a great alternative, but the reason why they chose the stainless steel is that stainless steel actually holds up much better than galvanized metal. So for example, they actually will cover this under warranty for up to 5 years, where if you were to buy a galvanized metal unit, the warranty, I believe, only goes up to 1 or 2 years. So once again, the stainless steel is just gonna hold up much better over time. It's gonna be cleaner, and it's just gonna work better. So like I said, stainless steel is gonna be the best. Also, one thing that I actually just recently learned is that the stainless steel actually works much better when you're dealing with salt. So salt in a galvanized unit will actually corrode the unit much faster, but the stainless steel works flawlessly if you're going to be adding any sort of salt content into your Plunge. I really just can't put into words. It's just so clear, so beautiful, so sparkly. I love it. All right, so now it's time to pop open these compartments, which are of course magnetized, making the guts of this much easier to maintain and operate. Also, something to note, all of this that you see here is right under the seat, which is just designed so beautifully, making it compact. You know, you don't have all this stuff sitting like next to it. It's all compact in the unit, making it just so much easier, taking up way less floor space. And of course, if we look through the front compartment, this is the radiator. And through this compartment, we can see all of the other components. This is the filter. We have an ozone generator and of course the compressor. Fun fact, the water never actually touches the compressor. The water comes in, it hits this filter, and then it goes through the ozone, which will clean the water, and then the water will shoot back up into the tub. So water never actually touches this compressor. So Morozko doesn't actually use a chiller like most companies out there do. The secret sauce of Morozko is actually that they use custom cooling, all built right in. So now you may be asking, why is it that Morozko is one of the only companies out there that actually makes its own ice? And the way that they do that is that they actually line this bath with coils that are between the wood and the tub itself. And then we have the compressor, which is down here, and that uses a refrigerant to cool down the coils, which in turn cools and freezes the water in the tub. The cooling from the compressors are then output down through the radiator and turned into heat, which then hits the ambient air. So if you were to put your hand up to this, you'd feel heat coming out of it. This thing is incredibly easy to set up. Basically, all you need to do is get it into position. I will say this thing is heavy, so you'll definitely need a couple of people to get it into the proper position. But once you get it set up, you just plug in the plug right into the outlet, fill it up with water, and you're basically good to go. So as far as setting it up, there's really not much you have to do. As far as setting it up for the temperature required, we have an Inkbird that sits right here, which is how you will set the temperature. So it's actually pretty simple. There's just 3 buttons, an up arrow, down arrow, and a set. Very easy to set your desired temperature, just right here. As far as maintaining the unit, this is the filter, which should probably be changed about once a month or so, but that kind of depends on how often you're using it and how many people are using it. But for me, I probably change my filters like once a month. The other thing you'll have to do for maintenance once in a while is you can see here the radiator sometimes will get some dust in it. So in order to maintain the radiator, you could just take a small little vacuum and just suck up all the debris, but that's just from time to time. So like I said, this thing is really easy to maintain, not much to it at all. And then right here we have the electrical panel, which as far as what I'm told, you don't really have to do anything with it. You just kind of need to know it's there, but it is. And that's the electrical panel. Fun fact, the electrical panel is actually pre-programmed to turn on the ozone filtration about 2 hours a night. So you actually never even have to set the ozone. It's just programmed right in, 2 hours a night of that clean water. One fun thing to note is that this is actually heat tape that you see on the filter, and the heat tape will actually kick on if the ambient temperatures are freezing, and the heat tape will actually keep it from freezing. So yes, you can actually use this thing in very, very cold temperatures. And of course, you could use it in hot temperatures as we are currently out here in the desert. So to answer your question, you can put this thing in freezing ambient temperatures, and because of the heat tape, none of your components will freeze. My absolute favorite feature of this is of course the ozone generator. If you know anything about me, I absolutely despise chlorine. And just being in the Morozko headquarters, I have learned so much about chlorine and ozone but that's far out of the scope of this video. But just know that the guys here at Morozko, they take ozone so seriously. They are constantly testing and making sure that the ozone works, because quite frankly, the ozone is like one of the most important parts of their ice baths, which allow you to not have to use chlorine with it. Once again, my absolute favorite feature. It might be a touch too small for some of the bigger guys. I am 6'1", 200 pounds, and you know, I can definitely get my shoulders down in this unit, and I will say that it is comfortable, but I can see if you are a bigger guy out there, this might not be ideal for you. However, I do hear that a bigger model is actually in the works, so we shall see about that. All right, and just for some size comparison, we have my friend Thomas. He is, what are you,
I'm 6'5".
6'5", so he's gonna jump in here, so we'll get a look at what a taller guy looks like in plunge. Obviously, I haven't spent extensive time with the unit, so it's really hard for me to give a real review about, you know, some of the intricacies of this. But obviously, the biggest negative, the elephant in the room, is the price of this. This thing is expensive. It's definitely not for everyone, but if you want an ice bath that is literally on the cutting edge of biohacking, an ice bath with ozone, an ice bath that actually makes its own ice, Morozko is the only way to go. It's my top recommendation. All right, time for my initial plunge. This is, of course, the Ice Plunge by Morozko Forge. Thank you so much for checking out the video. I am Mike Gorman. If you enjoyed the video, consider subscribing and check out our social media at Cold Plunge Memes on Instagram. Post-plunge BTS with Thomas, just getting some sun, drying off. Freaking beautiful out here in Arizona.
Yep.
But yeah, like, I can't even stress enough, like, the absolute best part of plunging is just being able to just come out in the sun, let the sun naturally warm you up. It's just like the most electrifying feeling ever.
I couldn't agree more. Yeah.
All right.